Almost.
This isn't just any classic car. It's got a northern twist.
It's cool
How come?
because it's a schedule car.
In a place where snowmobiles are the preferred form of transit at this time of year, this one definitely stands out.
Great shape for something that old,
Having that chance to actually go up and touch it and sit in it and just look at it, it's good to see.
The Model T came to Labrador in 1927, part of a scientific expedition from the University of Chicago.
Today we know the history of the Model T and we understand it. To see it is exciting, but just imagine how Inuit felt when they first saw that.
It was a first.
Yeah, it's just amazing to be able to pinpoint which particular individual sort of object is the first of its kind in an area. Not only are we able to do that, but that particular first example of a snowmobile has survived and it was in good enough condition to be able to restore.
It's very emotional.
Adrenaline rush.
So proud of my son. So proud of him.
Why are you proud of him?
He's 15 years old and he learned more in there in 3 days that he missed from school.
Not even
about morals and values and
just working together, just showing what people can do as a group.
What did you think about the meeting last night? What you heard? Were you satisfied with it?
I wasn't satisfied, but as far as we can do it, that's just a start. We will keep her going. We're not stopping here.
On softer sections of the highway like this one, the vehicles that pass make ruts in the highway that make it difficult for those that are coming behind them to navigate. The consistency of what they're driving on is essentially mud. Steve Sturge delivers firewood. The road in his area after the Charlottetown Junction has been improved, but he says it still gets bad this time of year, and grading could have begun much earlier this season.
One trip, not so bad, but if you make 2 or 3, you're beat up at the end of the day.
Cracks in the floor, cracks in the walls.
You feel wind blowing through that too.
Some of the outlets have begun to go.
So these are burnt out.
And if you want proof the house is off kilter, Edmonds can prove it.
And I'm just going to let it go.
With a ball.
Hang in there. It's cold.
This is where Sam Rutherford found himself just over a month ago, stranded in the cabin of a small plane on the side of a hill in the middle of the Labrador Wild.
I don't know why it happened. I just know what happened, but I remember just going, at one stage we were flying, and the next moment we weren't.
The plane was traveling about 300 kilometers when it hit. It was flying low due to strong headwinds above. The view was deceiving.
The hill that we hit had no trees on it at all, so I don't know to what degree it looked like a big white featureless thing.
Rutherford says the software that warned about changes in terrain had failed to load.
What had happened is we'd gone into the side of a hill at about 45 degrees. Now that's one of the reasons probably I'm still here, and also 2 or 3 meters of the snow. Like I said, there were no features, there were no trees.
The ex-military pilot credits his time in the service that told him to stay calm through the situation.
The ability to be in comms with somebody outside from a morale point of view has just been huge.
And his communication devices for giving him the ability to stay in touch.
And in fact, the first person I contacted was my wife.
Was the flight before Christmas to the Labrador coast, squeezing on a twin otter, the man kids love the most.
I'm sort of doing a dry run. I want to know what the community is like and what the kids want for Christmas.
Anticipation at the Hopedale airstrip is clear. When he finally comes out, the crowd gives a cheer. In Postville, Makovic, there were similar scenes. The chance to tell Santa the gift of their dreams.
What would you like for Christmas this year?
Toy Skidoo.
A toy skidoo.
I said I want trolls.
An iPhone.
Why do you think so many people come out to see Santa Claus?
To get a present.
This machine gun pit, part of a line of defense In this scenario, the job is to guard the Goose Bay Airport.
We have possible enemy approach lines from maybe that tree line over there, or maybe a base of fire on the right. So anyway, we keep our eyes out.
The enemy, also from the same brigade, parachuted in earlier in the week. They've been testing the defenses.
They wanted us to engage them all with all our weapon system and everything, but we're a little bit smarter than them, so we engaged them with only a few weapons.
This position has stayed safe up until this point. Bravo Company plans to keep it that way.
We got guys here on shifts every 2 hours. There's 2 guys at all time, day and night. So everybody's got their eyes out in case something happens.
If there were an attack, the company would be called into action, but everything stayed quiet during our time there. The training wraps up tomorrow. A worthy exercise, says the commander.
Winter is part of life in Canada, so why not train for it and become good at it?
Jacob Barker, CBC News, on 5-Wing Goose Bay Base. Voisey's Bay, not a spot many people get to. This is the main camp for Operation Nanook.
I like it. It's beautiful scenery. It's a good time, actually.
As the soldiers get used to being here, the operation is ramping up. Supplies and more troops are arriving.
They're pressed for time and fuel, so we had to get a move on, get the guys off. And guys got to know which part they got to do, like their piece of the pie.
Time to set up camp and find ways to pass the time.
Mostly it comes to your imagination, whatever you can imagine or think up as a game.
Until the orders come in.
We're going to recce the site. We're going to check for any tampering. It's just a proof we can go there, we can check it out, and we can make sure everything's safe and good.
But these scenarios aren't just for the troops to learn from, it's also for commanding officers. A real-world environment that can cause real-world problems. It's not just the furniture. It's not just the things that make a house a home. It's a life lived. It's family. It's community.
It's sad to see how everyone's stuff going away from home. It's unbelievable that everyone actually is starting to become real for all the families that they actually had to leave.
Watch the leg.
With winter weather knocking and the deadline for power to be shut off just around the corner, the rush is on to get out.
Every time the ferry goes, she's right full. The deck is leveled right off with stuff. Everyone got a household full of stuff to move, and even people who don't live out there all year round got stuff out there, and now they want to get in out of it because they're afraid they may never come back here.
This is just one run the Marine Eagle is making, and it's packed to the brim with people's household belongings. Transportation has added extra runs to help people get out by the deadline. Normally, many members of the community shift out at this time of year. Just a handful stay behind for the winter. There's a document in this church that says it's the oldest in southern Labrador, and people here want to see it preserved. They're planning to reshingle it before pushing off. Michael Penny is getting ready for colder months.
You can't buy memories. I got 28 years of memories there.
He and his wife Pamela decided not to take part in the relocation. They didn't vote, and they're not taking the payout to keep title to their property.
That's the house my dad gave me and thought about it. I said, no, I said, I mean, what if you lose the house and in the contract, they said that if you found any minerals or whatever, they could bull the houses or they could take the houses. My dad was 21 years old when he helped grandfather build a house, and I said, well, I'm not giving her up. I'm just not.
While a community prepares to leave, they're digging in.
But it gets quite hot. We're pretty much going to be here to witness everybody leaving.
Planning renovations.
We're ordering our plywood and any other supplies we need to come on the ferry before it stops. My boys, Michael and I.
They do plan to go to their home in Port Hope Simpson as usual later on in the season, but they still will be here after the power gets shut off and in future years.
We're ready. We've lugged water before. We're going to get our pump system hooked up now this spring. We have our generator to run our home, and well, we have our stove for cooking in the winter time.
The couple knows life will be different, but they don't see this as an end.
Beginning of a new way. No power, everybody will learn to adjust, but if they want to come back and get their fish, do their hunting, well, they'll make it work.
We're young, and wife's young, and as long as I can come out here, we'll come out here.
When the power to Williams Harbor is shut off and the community goes dark, at least one light will be burning, and at least one boat will be looking to make a buck in these waters come next spring. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Williams Harbor.